Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Interviews, Heart and Soul Conversations. Stop it. My name is Kendra Bell, and I am joined today by my wonderful co-host and co-part in all things love and empowerment, Cynthia Kyle.
Salute.
And we are excited to continue this conversation on Black love and
relationships.
Now,
hey, that's my favorite subject, and I think it should be everybody's favorite subject. But go ahead, my bad.
Yeah, it should be, because in some type of way we all got here in some manner or the vehicle of love. So we want to,
even if it was fake love, imitation love, practicing love, some type of loving act, at least we had to be enough love to produce a life.
There you go. Well, that's true. That's true. I'm gonna give you that. And last week, our topic was loving her and him better. Like, how can Black men and Black women love one another better? And our guest, Olamina, I'm sorry, I'm from Baltimore, so I be saying as opposed to O. Olamina Stevenson of Loving Her Better got the ball rolling with different aspects of loving the Black woman. Mm-hmm. And so we had a lot of feedback. A lot of people were having a lot of comments. They asked questions. So we decided to do a part 2. But we have with joining him tonight, his beautiful partner and fiance. So I hear Brenda McCoy. So we're going to bring them on. So everyone on Facebook.
Is she the real McCoy?
Apparently, she is the real.
I hear she's the real McCoy.
Real McCoy. So we're going to bring them on right now. Hello. Good evening.
What's up, family?
What's up? Because some good people.
Hey. Thank you for that introduction.
Hey, it's all Black love here, no matter from which form or which way that comes. So last week we had some people watching and joining, and they had questions and comments on the whole concept of loving one another better. And so we decided to continue the conversation, but we wanted to bring you on because you are also a pivotal part of the work that he is doing, and you are also a licensed social worker. So you have a professional leaning towards this subject. Am I right?
Yes, thank you. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. While the majority of my clinical experience, though, has been working with individuals and families dealing with addiction issues. But absolutely, I work right along with O, and I'm very proud of him in this initiative of Loving Her Better.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, even though you work with, people that have substance challenges, I'm sure that love and relationship and possibly trauma does come into the conversation.
Absolutely.
Am I correct?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So in bringing that out, let me ask you, so what do you think? And I'm more of the hard news reporter type questioner.
Okay.
Do you think that a lot of the addiction issues stem from people not being loved properly?
That's a great question. And so, when you ask that about not being loved properly, that can start very early on, right? Mm-hmm. With parents, with caregivers. So, absolutely, childhood trauma more often than not is what leads to addiction issues. And so, yeah, on some level that does involve, emotions, loving, not feeling that the people have received the love that they might have wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Well, can love heal trauma and heal an addiction?
I believe so. I definitely believe that love can heal trauma. There are a lot of things, of course, that would need to go into it along with that. But I definitely feel that will go a long way in helping.
Most definitely. Now, before we get into the nuts and bolts of the serious conversation, I want to know a little bit about how you guys met.
You want to tell a story? I'll tell a story.
I can tell a story.
Smiling. She's like, oh, you. I love it.
So I was working for a methadone treatment program in the city. And we were introduced by a coworker, friend, beautiful sister named Ujima. And so it started off, with a phone call, and then we became friends on social media, and then it led to our first meetup.
Well, there's always two sides of the story. She got her side, so I got mine. So my side, how I saw it go down, I happened to be in Africa, in West Africa, with a couple friends, and we were sitting around. They we all traveled there together, and we were sitting around the table one time, and we were just talking about how bad relationships were and why they were still single, and it got to me about why I was still single, and I was just having a hard time, meeting a quality person. And so one of the sisters named Wajima said, well, what kind of woman are you looking for? And so they asked me to just give this description of what I was looking for. And I started laying out the qualities and things that I was looking for. And then, Wajima said, I got the one for you. Her name is Brenda. And so I was okay. When I get back to the States, I'll check her out, see what she's about. And so I started stalking her online.
Stalking her. Is that a green light?
Is that a green light? A green flag or a red flag?
Okay, let me rephrase. I started doing my research, doing my homework. And sooner or later we finally were able to get together after her playing hard to get, and but once I got in, it was game over.
Oh, okay.
Resistance was futile, huh?
Had me like a moth to a flame.
Oh wow, that is so cute. So let me ask you. So, in saying that, and we're going to get back to the more seriousness of where we opened up with, but so you saw each other, or you felt a vibe. Were there any indicators where you said, okay, I'm gonna open this door just a little bit and see what's going on? Because I asked a question earlier, and even though I didn't really, I posted it late. I probably should have posted it earlier, but I asked people, I said, so we often talk about these red flags. What are some green flags? And I think only 3 people maybe answered, but people kind of it was like crickets. No one, they were kind of slow. It sat there for hours before someone even answered. And one of the lovely sisters that is in my Facebook group posted this wonderful image about all of these green flags. And what she said was that she focuses on the green flags now. as opposed to the red flag, which I thought was very important. And we'll talk about that later. But then, like a few minutes, so I said, okay, well, no one's biting this. So let me do the traditional, what are the red flags? And it didn't stay up any more than 5 minutes. People were like, oh, this, that, this. And so it shows me that we're automatically looking for the stop as opposed to the go. And I will say that when I met this gentleman, I was on the yellow flag or the yellow light.
Caution.
Like, but I knew that the red flags that I was looking for were more so based upon myself, but we can talk about that later. But what I wanted to focus on was, what were some of the green flags that immediately made you say, I think I kind of like this person?
For me, it was the quality of woman that she was. I looked at her as a woman who had achieved great success. She was very smart. And so, that was very important to me. Mm-hmm. But she also was raising 3 wonderful young women. And the example that she was setting for her daughters was very impressive to me. Mm. And then as I learned her story, it was more about the strength and, her resilience to overcome obstacles and, all of those things. And of course, the chemistry. But all of those things were, just drew me to her like a moth to a flame. And those were things that I felt were the kind of quality things that you look for when you're trying to partner with somebody, and they were all there for me.
Okay, look at her blush, and you're still making a blush. That's good.
Hey, it keeps me smiling.
That's good. So, what about you, Brenda?
Yeah, this is a great question. Earlier, I was looking on your page, and I saw when you had posted the question, and it's so true. Like you said, we're always mindful of the stops, the red flags, and we don't really give as much thought to the green flags. And for me, there were so many with O. The first one is that he's emotionally mature. Right. He's definitely one that is willing to think and learn about himself, look at the past and grow from it, and he's also not one that, just quickly acts on emotion. He thinks before he acts. So emotional maturity was extremely important for me in a green flag. Respect, right? He's very respectful. We have a lot of things in common, but we definitely have some differences. And I find that he's respectful of those differences, right? You don't want someone that's going to be criticizing, demeaning and belittling, trying to change. You want somebody who's going to be able to respect the differences.
Right.
He's open, always willing to have open communication.
That is vital.
And not only open communication, but honest, right? Because we can communicate all day, but if you're not going to be honest with me, right?
What's the point? Exactly.
You're not going to get too far.
No way.
Very warm and affectionate, compassionate, empathetic.
Keep going.
That's huge. Keep going.
No,
funny.
That's enough.
Yeah, funny. I love to laugh, right? So somebody, if you're making me laugh, that's definitely a green flag right there. Independent too. I have to say, for me, independence is a green flag, right? Is this person, looking for somebody to fix them or complete them, right? Or are they, like my grandmother used to say, able to stand on their own 2 feet? And I think you have to show a certain amount of independence, be able to demonstrate that before you are really ready to be in relationship.
So it's not like what's that, Jerry Maguire, when he said you complete me? It's not like that. Y'all come together as whole people. Okay.
Two parts making a whole. You know.
Or two holes make it, I guess, a bigger hole.
A very holy situation.
A whole, I like that, a holy situation, the union,
Mm-hmm.
the union.
Yeah,
So yes, it's a holy situation. And it's funny because one of our viewers, Halim, said red flag to green flag is a powerful transition. So when I saw that, I immediately thought about the chakras and how, you know, the red is for the root, you know, where we are basically worried about survival, you know, and the green chakra that represents the heart. But we have to get through that sacral and the solar plex, which is all about intuition, of course, and you know, enthusiasm and joy of heading to that heart space.
I'm a
hippie.
I want to ask if I can do some healing in real time right now.
Let's do
Oh, okay.
Before we got on the call, I was in one of my moods, and I criticized my baby, and I think it affected her. So I want to apologize, but that's why we do this, because what you said, Brenda, you mentioned something about being critical and not trying to change the person as being a green light. And that brought to my attention what I just did. So I'm healing, I'm healing that.
Oh, thank
I'm
you.
acknowledging it, and I'm going to do better.
Oh, thank you.
That shows being respectful as well as emotional maturity.
And being accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also too, you know, I was a little annoyed, but I didn't take it personally because I know that that's his own trigger that he is responsible for.
We all have our moments.
You know, but by him bringing it up, you know, I think we talked about this last week about how women talk a lot more. We share more information, and it was a very simple thing. So go ahead and share it if you want to. Go ahead.
No, I mean, it's going to sound petty. I'm not going to get specific, but it was, you know, I asked her a simple question that only took a one-word answer, and it became a whole explanation. And so I was triggered because we're trying to move fast, and I got to listen to a whole explanation when she could have just said yes or no. But I mean, I didn't have to respond the way that I did. I could have just breathed and kept it moving, you know. But I noticed the subtle changes in her energy that you may not be able to notice. So that's why I wanted to acknowledge this now to you know, clear away that energy.
Oh, baby, I won't worry about you. I know you get into your little spaces. And
yeah, she say that, but you know, I had to do my alchemy work regardless.
But it was just funny because, and this is how we can, you know, learn from each other. So it was a simple, like a piece, like for the keyboard or something. And he just asked me, did I need it? And so in his mind,
yeah, because we have a remote control piece for the laptop, so she can use the remote control keyboard. And I asked her, "Do you need that piece?" And she said, "Yeah, in case I want to type something." And I was like, "Well, of course, in case you want to type something, that's a given, You don't got to tell me that you want to type something. And I realized, well, you know, I didn't have to respond like that. You know, I could have just let her say what she had to say. But so we had just a little back and forth. It wasn't nothing because we do tongue in cheek like that all the time, you know, but at the same time, I'm aware that, you know, things like that can wear on a person if it's done too often, you know. So this is one of the things that I'm conscious of that I'm going to make sure I stay conscious of.
Yes. I mean, it's so important to really just be willing to think and learn about yourself, right? And to be open to that and to look at the past and be ready to grow from it. So, yeah.
Yeah, most
That was an act of love in action. Good job.
Yeah, it was. I appreciate it. So next time, just give me the piece.
I gave it to you. See, she's trying to start me up again. I gave it to you.
You know, oh, Halim, don't be always talking about some big man shit.
Nah, he bigging me up. Halim's the biggest brother up. Thanks, Halim.
It was. Because I can be snappy too. Now, in certain types of scenarios, something like that could create a big tremor. It could become, you know, why you always, you know, like you talk a lot, or why you respond to me like that? I just told you I needed it. And that, like you were saying, sometimes comes from childhood and those that can trigger past trauma and past hurt, because he may just be, you know, having a moment about, he don't understand why, you know, I'm explaining my yes, but I may have a story about explaining why I have to get something or why someone is giving something to me. So it's double healing, because for me, I have to be okay with just saying, yes, thank you. I don't have to explain anything.
Yeah.
So that's my lesson too. So that works both ways. So I think that one of the things of the green flag that he just showed was being able to look into a moment and don't let it grow into a thing. Am I right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And being mindful that, you know, the words we choose with each other matter, right? Because they live on like long after they've been said, right? And then there can be that tendency sometimes to ruminate, right? I mean, you just kind of play back and play back and play back. And then stuff builds, like you were talking about, Kendra. Yeah. Words matter.
So, everybody on here is over 40. You know, between the four of us, I'm making an assumption. You know,
he's only 35.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm making that assumption. At least the men on here are over 40. I can assume that, right? Okay. Now we know that as young folks, when we was in our 20s and so forth, previous relationships maybe, you know, we made a few mistakes. I know as a young man, I was married before in my 20s. I know that as a young man, it was just some things that I was not aware of as far as being with a woman, being married, and just the subtleties of loving a woman and the things that were important. I was still at the age where I had a rebellious mindset of, well, why I gotta do this? Why I gotta be like this? Why women like this and why women like that? So, Brenda, I wanted to ask you, you know, and Olamina, you can answer after as well. What's some advice, like if any young people are listening, on how a man could love a woman better so that he don't make the same mistakes that maybe we have made in our 20s, to have to, you know, repeat relationships or end relationships and start other ones, you know, to make a relationship last? What are some ways that we as men can love women better?
Good question.
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, well, like you, I've been married before. Um, I got married early as well. I graduated from college May of 97. In August of 97, we were married. So I was 22 years old, right? Um, we have three wonderful daughters. You know, my heart beats walking around. Um, and by the time that we divorced in 2017, we had been married for almost 20 years, right? I encourage my girls to do things totally different than how I went about going about things. Um, you know, the process of divorcing prompted me to really take time to learn about who I am, right? Who am I? What things do I value? You know, that process allowed me to kind of look at, you know, and connect the dots of my life, right? And really could make some connections between how those early experiences influenced those important life decisions that I had made, some for the good and some, you know, not so much for the good. So I encourage them as young women to, you know, do things in a different order than I did, right? Learn about yourself first. Learn who you are first, right? And so, I mean, during the process of divorce, I went ahead, I participated in counseling, right? And then I really spent time with myself, like I said, you know, learning who I was, what it is I value, you know, connecting the dots of my life. And doing those things, it was good for me, right? Just for me. But, you know, doing that, learning about myself also better prepared me for this relationship that I'm in now with this amazing man, you know? So I know that didn't really speak to, you know, men themselves, you know, specifically men, but for both our male, young males and our young females, you know, learn about yourself first.
Mm.
You know? Make sure that you are able to demonstrate some level of independence first before you try to bring somebody else on board, right?
That's
important.
No, that is important. And, you know, for me, on the flip side, I didn't get married until after 40, one time with this gentleman right here. And someone has just asked, you know, a really good question that, you know, I'm going to ask. But for me, I was petrified of losing my identity. So I was very clear that I wanted to be my own type of a person, you know. So part of like the idea of being married when I was young, I was told, but I didn't really see that, you know, at home because my parents were together for over 30 years, you know, until my dad passed. But coming up as a 70s kid and coming into my adulthood in the 90s, you know, I was very concerned about losing myself. And I was taking those Black feminist classes and things like that. And I'm a Black womanist and all those different things. But I didn't get the balance of the femininity of the power of being feminine as well, which I think is something that's important with knowing who you are. Like, what type of a woman are you, and not so much what type of a woman do you want to become to get a man, but what type of woman do you want to be to attract the type of man. That I think is very important. I think both genders deal with that, you know, equally. But I think the burden of that is more so socially placed on women.
But let me follow up and answer Simi's question a little bit from my perspective. Um, as I was coming into manhood, and knowing that at some point I was going to be in a relationship, I took it personal for almost, because I asked myself, what kind of man do I want to be? It was important to me. Like as I said last week, I heard the term the dog, and I was clear that it was something negative, and it had a negative connotation. And when I learned what it was something I realized I didn't want to be.
Mm.
So as I was coming into my maturity as a man, and what type of man I was going to show up in a relationship, for me it was important to learn what women want. It was important to me to be sensitive. It was important to me to be a good listener. It was important for me to be romantic. It was important for me, to show up with integrity, to have character, to be someone that could be trusted. And so it was important to me as a young person to embody those things in my character, because I wanted to be a good man. I didn't want to be a dog.
Mm.
I never wanted to be, I never wanted someone to have to be able to call me that. And so it's important for us as people individually, to try to show up and bring to the table what we're looking for in other people, and so character meant a whole lot to me. And I recommend to young people to do the work on yourselves, mature, make sure you're ready to step into the responsibility of being in a relationship, do your healing, do your work, bring your best self to the relationship. And I think when you do that kind of work, you can't help but be successful, at least in your part and who you are in the relationship.
Some younger people are so afraid to be taken advantage of by the opposite sex or the complementary sex, always on guard. Like, I don't want to, they don't want to like be too soft, especially young men, they don't want to be the nice guy. There's a lot of talk going on, like how nice guys get overlooked. Like women, they say they want the nice guy, but they don't really want the nice guy. Well, I guess we're out of that age bracket. We're talking about mainly the young age bracket. By the time the age that we get into, I guess people done woke up. Well, by looking at your face, I'm wrong. I would think people done woke up.
Heard enough.
I don't know. I mean, it would be nice, but I hear some of those same sentiments with people 40 and over, that they don't want to be taken advantage of. I don't want to look weak. I don't want to look dumb. Women and men both kind of have that, armor up, and it's unfortunately due to, I guess, different things that they've gone through in their 20s and their 30s, where they're kind of, just like, ooh, but would you like to ask that question real quick?
Which question?
Right here from Tanya.
Please identify the term red flag.
Yes.
Is it the apprehensive stage of the relationship? I don't know what apprehensive stage means. When you're on guard. So you use the term red flag. So I see red flags just things that, put your antennas up to say, okay, that's not a good sign, what this person is showing me. But what we're emphasizing tonight is the green flags. What things that will make you say, okay, this is what I'm looking for in a person, even if it's something that you may not even have thought of, because a tendency is to focus on, what we don't like, and sometimes we might be, Xing somebody out of our minds at the first sight of what we consider a red flag.
Right.
But, and I mean, if we want to get deeper, if you keep attracting people that keep showing you red flags, that may say more about you than it does about the actual people.
Yes,
that you're attracting into your space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm a firm believer in you are who you attract, you know, and I had to accept that. You know, if we say that I meet men that lie, where am I lying to other people? Where am I lying to myself? Where am I lying to this particular man? If he lying, then I'm lying about something. You know, certain things like that. That's one of the big ones. People say, well, I keep attracting men that they just lie. They just lie all the time. And men, I'm sure men have that same. Do men complain about women lying, or is that what do you guys think?
We complain about women complaining about men lying, but we complain that women don't think they be lying, you know, with their fake stuff on their fake presentation. They really lying too. We just may be lying verbally, but you know, they're not outright lying.
I think that let me just say this real quick, and then I'm not even gonna. He's baiting me right now.
I'm not baiting. You asked me what men think.
When men talk about this fake stuff, right? I think it's like envy because they can't wear fake hair, or no, some men got.
I don't want to wear no fake hair.
I was gonna say now they can.
Yeah. They get fake hairlines and fake beards and stuff.
If y'all don't like get some fake hairlines, fake biceps, they got the biceps now where men can get the little biceps and stuff.
Sure do.
I heard about that.
Yeah, where can you buy that at?
I don't know. I don't know. But I think
but
both genders lie.
Yeah.
And with certain things, I would say equally. It's not a thing of men do more of this and women do more of that. Mm-hmm. I think that's where we get into just deluding ourselves, trying to think. That's what the gender wars, trying to make it like one gender is more sophisticated or more elevated than the other gender, and one gender is more dysfunctional than the other gender. Mm-hmm. That's, to me, that's immature talk.
Yeah,
it's immature talk, because the bottom line is you're going to attract your level of functioning, your level of vibration, your level of character. That's what you're going to mostly attract. And what you're seeing in other people that you're complaining about is somewhere reflecting in you somewhere. Go ahead.
I also think too, I think there's a lot that goes into, why we are attracted to those that we are. Right. Mm-hmm. And I think some people, especially that have dealt with a lot of early traumas, right, they're accustomed to dealing with certain personalities. Right. Mm-hmm. It's not necessary, oftentimes, the beast that is better than the one that you don't. Right. And so you just keep, because that's what you're comfortable with. That's what you know. Right. It might not be any good at all for you, but it's what what you're comfortable with. Your daddy was like that. Your uncles were like that. The boyfriends that your mother had were like that. Mm-hmm. So that's the personality that you're familiar with. Yeah. And that can be very difficult to break.
Yeah.
No, that's very.
Because those who you interact with, especially at a younger age, it puts an imprint on your spirit. Mm-hmm. Whether it's healthy for you or not, you keep repeating certain cycles and not understanding that you just doing what you used to, right? And either you gotta consciously break that cycle, or if you meet someone who helps you to break that cycle, otherwise you're just going to keep repeating the same patterns and the same experiences.
Exactly. Yeah, because I know was where, for me, when I started dating, I was confused because my father was present at home and just, treated my mom well. And when I went out into the world, I was very confused about young men not liking women or lying and cheating and these different things like that. It was traumatic at one point. But as I've grown, I realized that expectation I had a certain expectation, and that maybe they had expectations as well of me being a certain way. You understand? You see how that
Yeah.
works? That I've been told I was too nice. You too nice. Something ain't nobody that nice. And I would say, yeah, I'm nice until you piss me off. But I'm a genuine person, and I think that also too, people may be afraid to be challenged. But we have another question, and then we're going to get on our topic of these green flags. You want to read that question for me, baby?
Halim says, explain the difficulty in women having sexual attraction for the kind, generous, and thoughtful man. They seem to love to have us as friends, but have no sexual attraction. So he basically saying women say they like the nice guy and want to keep the nice guy around as a friend, but are not sexually attracted to him. They end up going for the guys who basically not treating them as good as the kind, generous guy or the nice guy. Y'all have any thoughts on that?
Well, my first thought is that, we kind of get into a dangerous situation when we put all of our gender in a certain category, right? That women in general just don't have sexual attraction for the generous and thoughtful man. Because I want a generous and thoughtful man, right? I'm a woman.
Yes, and I love the love up on this one right here. That makes me yummy and just,
She just loves the thug in me. That's what it is. I'm just playing.
All right, Ogun.
Ain't no thug in me.
That's that Ogun spirit underneath.
Yeah.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
When I first see that question, I'm like, well, wait a minute, we can't say that all women, don't appreciate the kind and generous and thoughtful man, right? Because I know I clearly do. All my friends do as well, right? So perhaps it is a certain kind of woman that, this person might be, continuing to seek after, that doesn't have that appreciation for that kind, generous, and thoughtful man. So, again, if insanity is continuing to do things the same way, right, and expecting a different result. So maybe there's something about the picker, right? There's something about why you're continuing to meet that woman that doesn't have the attraction for the kind and generous man. So maybe, altering that a little bit might lead to a different result.
And I think that's a myth that women are not sexually attracted to the kind and generous man. See, what I do understand that women want is what they believe is a strong man. That don't mean that they want a man that's going to abuse them and disrespect them. But if they don't have any other experience of a man respecting them, then they may go for that if that's their experience. But if they get a kind, generous, and thoughtful man that also displays strong masculine characteristics, I think they'll go for that every time. It's just that they don't want a weak pushover man that doesn't seem to have no backbone or exercise any type of will, because a woman don't want a man, that they can walk over. But I would say a sensible man don't want a woman that he can walk all over. Who would want to walk all over and misuse and abuse their mate? I don't think a healthy person would.
Yeah, he just said that this is something that he's heard from women. I would say that they may be chronologically women, but intellectually girls.
Yeah, there's what did Maya Angelou say? Well, maybe she didn't say, you better be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. And, I kind of, not to generalize, but I do take issue when I hear the sentiment that women want bad guys. They want. I really take some issue with that, because many times you may think there's certain qualities that you're looking for, in a person, but sometimes the outcomes and the results don't end up good for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, sisters as well as brothers, but sisters who are looking for that quote unquote, you know, bad guy image, some of the behaviors that come along with that bad guy, some of the outcomes might endanger their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And so sisters need to be, in my opinion, need to be careful in what they're seeking. You know, that's just my feel. Because sometimes, you know, when we get into relationships and then we wind up hurt, the flags were there all along.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, the outcomes of what we're asking for, you know, sometimes end in our own demise. And so
Mm-hmm.
we need to be careful about what we ask for.
Like, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was thinking, you know, and that happens really on both sides, right?
Yes, it does.
You know, some people have heard some women say they want a bad boy. And today, you know, it's popular to hear, I want a bad bitch, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, and then you wonder why, you know, why is she acting so crazy? Well, you asked for.
Yes, that's true. you know, and it's funny, like when we talk about these bad boys, like Kevin Samuels, and we mentioned him last week. I think that when the women call up there and he's like dogging them out, they get off on him being abusive to them and really tearing them down. It's really bizarre that they would keep calling or logging into him and having him, quote unquote, tell them, well, no, because you got 3 kids. So, I mean, no quality man's going to really take you seriously. Oh, how much do you weigh? Well, no, is that your hair? You know, and I think some of the women will be on the show and they will be laughing and giggling. And it's almost like they're used to being torn down. Like, please help me to qualify for your type of man, meaning a mentally, to me, oppressive man. What are when you see those clips of Kevin Samuels sitting there, sitting back and tearing these women. Now, some of the stuff that he says are valid, but in my opinion, maybe I'm being sensitive, and you gentlemen can chime in. But this is me and Brenda, because you know, here, you know, when you see that, what goes through your mind when you see those little clips of how he talks to those women?
So I'll be honest, I had not really seen anything of Kevin Samuels before this past Tuesday. Up till Tuesday, I had just heard a little bit, mostly what O had shared with me, you know, what he has and his thoughts and feelings about it, right? And I'll be honest, when he was sharing, you know, those thoughts and feelings about what he'd seen, I wasn't very impressed, right? But I think our phones are listening, right? So somehow on Tuesday, I'm scrolling through Facebook, and then here's this clip, right, after we done talked about it, of Kevin Samuels. And I watched a little bit of it. I would say less than 2 minutes of it. I'm gonna be honest with you.
It's crazy.
And I still wasn't impressed, right? I hope that, you know, the young woman that was on there, that she got something positive from the experience. But I felt humiliated for her, embarrassed for her, all of that. And so, you know, my question goes to, all right, so, you know, what's the motive? Is he trying to help, or is he trying to be hurtful, right? And if it really is that he's trying to be helpful, then we have to acknowledge that how we go about helping matters. How we go about helping matters, right? I, you know, as we mentioned, I'm a therapist, right? We've been trained to realize that there's a way of communicating with folks that can be very helpful. There's a way you can go about it that can also be very destructive, harmful, right? So presentation matters, right? And we can't act like it doesn't. It kind of reminds me of back in the day, the episode of the Cosby Show, right? I don't know if y'all remember when Vanessa had brought her boyfriend Dabness, or I don't know what he was, her fiance.
Oh yeah, he just popped up or something. Mm-hmm.
Yes,
I
and so I was trying to explain to him how presentation matters. He was like, what's your favorite meal? And what's that meal that you absolutely love? And he was like, steak. Okay, we'll say, I got you this porterhouse steak, sauteed mushrooms, crispy potatoes, right? Your favorite meal. Now I go to give it to you. I don't give it to you on a plate. Instead, I take the lid up off the trash can and I put your steak dinner on it and I give it to you. Not too appetizing, right? Because presentation, it matters. And so if we say we're going to help, then we need to help to communicate in a way that's going to be helpful. Mm-hmm. But if it's not, if it's just going to be Jerry Springer, shock jock, well then okay, say that's what it is, right? But don't try to make me believe it's something else.
That you're actually coaching and helping these women.
Well, I don't want to make this a Kevin Samuels discussion, but I've listened to him pretty extensively.
Oh, you do?
Extensively? Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
I've listened to him pretty extensively where I can get an understanding where he's coming from. Mm-hmm. But in the spirit of what Brenda is saying, I see it as like one of those tit for tat type of politics where this is a show where men are getting back at women for all the things that they're angry at women about, and for the things that men want to say to women but just can't articulate. And this dude is pretty sharp, fast on his feet, intellectual, and he can make these women listen to him. And a lot of brothers are like, yeah, right, yeah, what he said, yeah, exactly. But I still see that it's a part of the whole gender conflict and gender war type of thing. Mm-hmm. But when he breaks it down, I understand some of the things he's saying, where he's coming from. He's just trying to match what he feels the women, like the whole rating of the women. He's saying, women complain that men shouldn't rate women, but he's saying that women rate men all the time and don't mind saying how certain men don't qualify for them. And so he's saying, well, what makes you qualify for a quality man? And so it's a tit for tat. He makes valid points, but it's still, to me, I don't choose to take that approach because I don't think it's healing across the board. Right. Just tit for tat, and it just keeps people in a defensive mode, just trying to prove who's right and who's wrong.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because I really have not listened to more than 2 minutes of anything that the brother has said. But I know the one time that I did happen to catch a YouTube piece, I didn't know who he was, to be honest with you. I just saw a man and a woman talking on a show, and when I first listened to him, I said, wow, the dude is sexist and he's chauvinistic, and that's something I really couldn't stand for. But then I saw an interview that he did with some other brothers, and he tried to explain what he calls himself doing. And in some respects, he's holding the mirror up, and it's sometimes painful for what we're seeing in the mirror. But what I think happens with him, though, he's using shock value. He is abrasive. He's belittling. But sometimes it's like it's not what goes wrong with him is it's not what he says, it's how he says it. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that you said, Simbi, is some of the things that he says, he makes valid points, but the way he goes about trying to make these points and belittling and being condescending, you lose the value of trying to help if that's what he's trying to do. Mm-hmm. And so he has a place in the spectrum. He's going to have his 10 minutes of fame, but there's going to be somebody else that comes behind him and exploits the same avenue. But
he's a paying pimp.
Yeah. It's a whole bunch of them out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the clip that I saw on Tuesday, I mean, he had the little sound effects going.
Mhm.
He referred to the woman as trash.
I
Like,
mean, it's like listening to the what's the thing that just that Rush Limbaugh. You know, it's like listening to oh man, what's the white dude with the hair? The show, the shock jock.
Howard Stern.
Howard Stern. You know, they
Yeah,
got
that's a
audience,
good
people
comparison.
follow them, and they
He
got
ain't
this
bad as
stuff
Howard
that-
Stern. Howard Stern.
He don't know. He's
and they
just
just say wild stuff.
yes, he is. I watched him on Instagram for at least 30 minutes to an hour. I did just because I wanted to really see. And like I said, some of the quote unquote points, okay, I was like, all right. But the route that he took just felt abusive.
Exactly.
That's the best word I can say.
It feels like revenge. It's a revenge show.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna get y'all women back, and we gonna get y'all back. We fighting back as men because you know y'all been making us feel like crap. Y'all making songs like TLC. I don't want no scrub. You know, sitting next to your best friend in the passenger side. You know, no, you a scrub. Like, okay, well we gonna call y'all women out as being scrubs. I don't think that's no solution to help heal black male-female relationships.
I don't think he wants to heal.
It's just a feel good for men.
I don't think he wants to heal.
But like Olamina said,
Relationships.
that's his thing. That's what he do.
Yeah.
He got a lane for it, you know.
Yeah, so that's why
We do what we do though.
we're here today.
This ain't the Kevin Samuels show. I'm tired of talking about it.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just was curious from a professional point of view and from a sister, but I know we only got 3 minutes left and we didn't even really get into some green flags. What would you say are some green flags that people can say, okay, this feels good, let me move forward? Give me a couple of more.
I like the term feeling safe. If I can share my thoughts, my feelings, and the response that I get it affirms me, that's a good place to be. So that would be a green flag for me. You know, if I share something and it comes back and it, it's a knife in the heart and it's being turned, then that's, something that you take and say, okay, I learned my lesson there. But, being able to feel safe when you express who you are and you have a good feeling from when you have to express yourself and the response you get is affirming and loving.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely somebody you can be vulnerable with.
Exactly.
Right.
That's trust. Trust is very important. Yeah.
But see, now all that is true, but I think, and this was I would like to add something. The green flag for me was when I was able to look at my past partnerships and accept those lessons, where I was not so ready to bring the triggers to him. You understand what I mean? Like, my personal green flag was, okay, I can see that he's not the other guy or the other guys. I have accepted certain lessons, certain choices that I have made. So then I could feel more trusting, as you said. And I think that for me, a green flag is that I can start identifying what I want more authentically through me learning my lessons from the past, not hating on the last man or saying he was a dog, he was trash, he did those things, whether quote unquote he did something to me, quotation marks. The ownership to say that I did not understand who I was, so I played a role in that partnership, and that's why it ended or continued in that path. That to me is a green flag for anyone. Like, you have to do the personal work and ownership and not the blame and shame, because that's where you're going to always see the red flags. You'll never see green. You'll always see red.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Very good.
You know, that's what, and trust when you're ready to share who you are without fear. And when I say that, I know it sounds easy, but it's like, and you know, I'm still unfolding my comfort level, you know, but the green flag is that this person is really available with themselves, not necessarily with the time or whatever, but available with who they are, what they actually like and dislike, other than red wine and fine dining. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I like a person that talks, is a communicator, or I'm not that much of a talker, you know, and stand by that, so that I know, like, this guy is not that much of a talker. But I'm a chat, but I'm a talker. But, and we both knew that coming in. So I didn't come in like, oh, I don't talk that much. No, I just, you know, but we learned to balance that.
Well, I'm a talker, but I just like talking what I like talking about.
Yeah, I will always go back. You know, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. We're supposed to listen twice as much as we talk. Yeah. I try to make my words meaningful and purposeful. And babbling for me is like, okay, I'm just running off at the mouth. I don't know what I'm saying. It's not meaningful. It's silly talk for me, you know. But you know, listening is important.
Yeah, a green light. A green light.
I feel hit. No, I mean,
a green light for me is being able to have peace, a peace of mind, and feel, you know, that we can have open conversation and not arguing, no tension and no judgment, just peace and acceptance. You know, that's a good green light for me.
Let's go back to that safe space.
Yeah. If it's like arguments over petty stuff, and I've learned that that's a red light. That's a red flag.
Red flag. I mean, it could be red light too.
Red flag.
Red light, green light.
But yeah, because peace of mind is most important. Because before I met Kenda, I made a declaration that if I can't have a relationship that's peaceful, I'd rather be by myself.
Yep.
Because I got a good relationship with myself. I developed a good relationship with myself, and I really had learned to enjoy myself. And when I really started learning that, that's when I met her. Because I told the ancestors, I said, you know, creator ancestors, I said, look, I'm done hunting for women. Because, you know, I guess I'll be choosing the wrong ones or whatever. So y'all gonna have to bring me one. And so they brought me her. So I said, okay.
Beautiful.
Well, we are at our hour. This was a great conversation. I know we kind of went around, but I think that the content and the topics that we talked about were valuable. And I want to thank you both for joining us. What type of things can folks be looking forward to coming from lovingherbetter.com?
Well, you know, we're trying to create a space just like you that celebrates Black love, you know, and you know, we will continue to do that. We'll continue to collaborate. We'll be looking forward to working with couples. You know, we've discussed doing a couples retreat, you know, and just reaching out to couples with similar mindsets and, you know, commonality. We're all about, you know, sharing this thing called Black love, you know. So, you know, I am working on a book for brothers.
Mm-hmm.
To this is the Black Love Loving Her journal. But to
Okay.
follow up with this, there's going to be a book that I'm writing, coming out hopefully in around January of this year, of next year. That's written for brothers, that speaks to us on how we can love our women better. And so I'm looking for that to hit the streets. I gotta just keep writing, and getting that finished. But I'm looking
forward to it.
That she has to do. This is so much talent right here, and so much to offer. So I can't wait that she's able to share her experience and her love and help other people. Because that's what one of the things I love about her. She's here to help other people, and I know that she's got some energy and some healing energy for some couples. And so I'm waiting for her to be turned loose on the world.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
In her professional therapeutic background, working with couples, counseling, couple counseling.
Well, y'all are an awesome combination, and the loving her, loving him movement is very inspirational. I'm glad to be a part of it. I guess I'm inducting myself and saying I'm a part of it.
You inducting us. Come on.
Yeah, because I'm striving every day to love her better. She striving every day to love me better. So it's beautiful, and I want to thank y'all for doing what y'all do, for being who y'all are.
Yes.
Yeah, well, thank you for creating.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you for creating a space to allow us to dialogue. Y'all keep doing what you're doing. We want to continue to build together.
Yes, most definitely. We got to do this because I want people to know that there are healthy relationships available to us. There's not all horror stories. And next week is our last week of covering this theme of Black love and relationships. And next week, my guest is master astrologer Kateria Knows, and she's going to be talking about astrology and finding your perfect mate. And she's also going to be talking about a reality show that she is filming where she's going to find her perfect mate through astrology. Doesn't that sound interesting?
Is next week we still in Mercury retrograde? Next week?
I rubbed off on him. He's asking about Mercury retrograde. Oh my goodness.
Hey, slow down. I was about to make it. Now I'm about to say, if we're going to be in Mercury retrograde and she's talking about astrologically, how can we find a mate? Maybe we need to reschedule that.
Well, actually, Mercury begins to go forward on June the 22nd. So
she's making me a believer with this Mercury retrograde thing, although I'll be clowning her about it. And I clown everybody that blames things on Mercury retrograde. But things have, like technology in my life, and certain things have been malfunctioning. And then I've been observing people's communications being off. So I'm like, I wonder if this is Mercury retrograde. So yeah, I guess she is rubbing off on me.
Good stuff.
all right, people, good people. Thank you so much. And we are probably going to do a roundtable again soon. So we hope that you will be available.
Absolutely. We'll make ourselves available.
Just let us know.
No.
Yes. And if you don't follow them, please follow them. Their names are posted in this post. Join their Facebook group. If you don't follow me, my name is Kenda Bell. That is the same name on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. I know I really don't be on Twitter like that, but if you tweet me, I might tweet you back. My website is www.kendabell.com. I am known as the Joy Factor Mama, where I help people to find more joy in every sacred opportunity. And my husband, Simba Yakau, is the Raise the Level man. Tell them how they can find you, baby.
Well, you can find me at thelevelraiser@gmail.com or go on my website, raisethelevel.net.
All right.
But make sure y'all get y'all Loving Him and Loving Her t-shirt.
Yes.
Show them your t-shirt at lovingherbetter.com. Get y'all t-shirts, join the movement. Gotta get them.
Yes.
Represent.
Please go to lovingherbetter.com and get your apparel and join the Black Love Couples Challenge.
That's right. Okay, guys.
All right, family.
I will talk forever because I'm a Gemini, so let me hang up now. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Peace
Peace.
and blessings.
Thank you, viewers. See you next week.
Okay.
All right.